I think we must look at when Bafana came. We last participated in 2015 AFCON. In that AFCON in Equatorial Guinea, we dropped out first round. 2017 we didn't qualify, and now 2019 we qualified. And so I think there was low expectation of the performance of the team. The second thing is that there were a lot of changes, and over a long period of time we wanted to see a settled team, a first 11, and it was very difficult to determine just exactly our best 11 or starting 11. I think this tournament has delivered to a great extent a team that showed that they could play against the best, because who did we play against here? We played against three teams that has been in the World Cup in Russia. We played against Nigeria, we played against Morocco, and we played against Egypt. All these teams played in the World Cup in Russia. And we lost to Morocco and Nigeria in the last minute, last 2 minutes of the game, with errors on our part. But I think the team performed extremely well. I think the standout performance, of course, was against Egypt in a stadium packed. There was more than 70,000 Egyptian fans, and a team that came off 3 consecutive victories in the group stages. And so it was a huge match and a huge test for Bafana. And they come from a group stage where we had 3 points as opposed to Egypt's 9 points. And so the speculation around the outcome of that match was always in favor of Egypt. I think it's now history that it's probably the best performance of a Bafana team in many years. Mark Fish said he last saw such a performance in 1998 of a Bafana team to perform that well. And I think all the technical people and all the commentators celebrated that performance of Bafana against Egypt. And so I think that showed us the capability and the best of what this team can deliver. And that helped us to begin to look, how do we consolidate this team, and how do we continue to build on that success. Of course, the next match was against Nigeria. Again, they were tested because Nigeria scored first, was leading 1-0. And there the test was, can they come back? And they did. At 1-1, we really thought that we're in with a chance, particularly because Nigeria then employed an ultra-defensive approach to the game and started playing long balls. Most of the players felt that when they were on the field, they said that they could see that the Nigerian players were feeling the pressure, and so we had hoped that if we can get into extra time, the fortunes of the match may change. Unfortunately, as we looked to the clock with 2 minutes on the clock to go to full time, Nigeria scored from the corner, and I think all of us just felt the bright possibility of a semi-final and even a final disappeared with one error on our part, and that was the end of Bafana's competition here. But we have not been to a quarterfinal since 2002. And a player like Percy Tau in 2002, I think he was like 6 years old. I don't know whether he was in grade 1 already, and so you can see the immense satisfaction that the team has and the pride they have of their performances, particularly the last two. And that gave them hope and really gave them a spring in their heels. Of course, they were disappointed in the match against Nigeria. But I think we have a team that everybody agrees can be one of the powerhouses on the African continent. We do need to fix one or two things in the team, but overall we have players who can play. In the midfield, in all of the matches, they showed their supremacy and their ability to be equal to any of the midfielders in the matches that we played. So that gives us a lot of hope for the team. But the introduction of VAR is that that's continuing controversy in spite of VAR. If you look at the VAR decisions in Russia, and it happened to be the African team that has been eliminated or decisions against them in Russia as a result of VAR. And therefore, generally, those teams complained about VAR. Secondly, we look at the VAR applications in the Women's World Cup, where South Africa was leading Spain 1-0 and was in a strong position. And then two VAR decisions that gave two penalties to Spain and a red card to a South African player changed the match and probably changed the fortune of our women's national team in that World Cup. And so I think that one of the difficulty is that, you know, you always say that the referee must be neutral. And therefore, if a team from Africa plays a team from Europe, the referee cannot be from Europe. So the referee may be from South America, but behind the screen, sitting in front of the VAR monitors, are VAR referees from Europe. So I think the question of the neutrality of the decision making around the match must not be compromised, either on the field or behind the screens. And I think we have to look at that. Again, if you look at the VAR referees here, you have to look not just on the referee on the field, but who are the VAR referees behind. And the other thing is, sometimes you feel that the on-field referee assume almost as a final decision whatever the VAR referee is communicating to them, and therefore surrenders almost that the referee's decision is final. It means that the referee on the field's decision is final. So I think there are some things that we have to look at. So I don't think that ultimately the final decision is in the hands of the referee, who must interpret and make up his or her own mind on what they see in front of them. Was VAR helpful? In some cases, yet in other cases not. In the case, for example, of South Africa, Nigeria, of course, there the assistant referee indicated an offside, and VAR indicated that the ball came off the Nigerian defender, and they then awarded the goal. So some teams are happy, others are very unhappy, because VAR has also led to the elimination of the teams. And I think the impact on our women's team in the Women's World Cup was massive, the two VAR decisions. Also Cameroon and Nigeria in the Women's World Cup, massive decision. Senegal is still complaining of what happened to them in Russia. So I think that the problem that we have is that on the African continent, I don't think we have trained enough VAR referees to assist behind the monitors. And that is why it could not introduce VAR on all the fields and introduce at quarterfinal. But also I don't know whether we will be able to have universal use of VAR across the African continent, because it's also an infrastructure point of view, it's a production point of view, there's a lot of other factors that will come in. But I hope that we will sort out the issues where VAR has introduced nuances to decision making.
Just talking about decision making, going back to the initial question around the coach himself, has he had a conversation with you? And if you talk about decisive action, with South Africa being knocked out of the tournament, would you want to see him continue in that position? Does he have a sense that he would want to continue in that position?
Well, we obviously did not have that conversation. He's going back. I think overall he's satisfied with the achievement of the team. Is he happy? I don't know whether he's happy, but I think he's satisfied. When I spoke to him just before the Nigeria game, he was positive about a result against Nigeria, and was saying that if we can get through Nigeria, we'll make it to the final and probably win it. So he was extremely positive around the ability of the team, and also around how the team played. He was very happy, but we have not taken the discussion beyond that, what actually happened here. And we will do that when I get back to South Africa. Sorry? Yeah.
State City went to Dubai for acclimatization for the heat. One of the preparation matches was cancelled, and then they did, of course, have one prep match. Do you think that the team prepared enough for such a huge tournament and understood the enormity of what it actually meant to be participating in the Africa Cup of Nations?
I think in the final analysis, your preparation is expressed in your on-field performance. And I think the last two matches have shown that this team was ready to compete against the best here. Strangely, when I came here yesterday, the team went back to training. They were training yesterday, and I attended some of the training. It was intensive in heat. They worked hard, and it's just a question of how long the team must prepare into a tournament. You find some countries who prepared long before, then players complain about overtraining and so on. So our women's team, for example, had a long lead time of matches and traveling and playing. They went to United States, they went to Cyprus, they played in South Africa, they played Netherlands, Sweden, they played Jamaica. And then there was a question of the team may have been overtrained. The same issue was raised against the under-20. They also went to Qatar, to Dubai, played many matches. They played in the Ukraine, and people also to say, so, but that's a decision really of the coach. But I think in the final analysis they performed well, and they were equal to the challenges in the last two matches, in particular against Egypt and Nigeria.
The issue of bonuses, are they getting anything post the tournament?
Yes, of course, that matter I think has been resolved and was publicized. The question of their bonuses, that has been arranged. And we explained to the players that this team and the CAF Afcon allocates prize money or bonuses, and therefore when they arrive in Johannesburg, they must not expect that checks be handed out. What the CEO must do now, he must raise the invoice and say, we've gone to the quarterfinal, this is the prize money for quarterfinal, give us the money so that the players can get the money. But the contracts have already been signed with each and every player, and they know what they get and they know when they'll get it.
So just to be clear, the money is from CAF related contracts, not so much from SAFA, and what they would have promised in addition to what CAF pays?
No, what the SAFA agreement with the players, if you calculate the amount of money that will be paid per player, you will find that even the prize money will not cover the total amount of bonuses to the players. So the commitment in the first place, the commitment of SAFA to the players, and then the money will then be paid to the players, which is more than what CAF will pay in prize money. If you want to see the actual prize money, go to MarawaTV. It's there.